Alright guys, so today we're going to talk about the Age of Exploration. We're going to be building off of what we learned about yesterday with the Aztecs and the Incans, but we're going to really be focusing on the Europeans and how they influenced the world as a whole and how they changed up the whole entire global economy because of their reasons for exploration. So, the whole entire reason why we're here today is built off of this need for spices. Europeans at this time were getting spices from the Spice Islands right here, modern day Indonesia, and we're getting them through the Muslims who are controlling the trade in this area. So these spices are very important because they help us flavor the food. They use as preservatives to slow down the rotting process. The issue is the Muslims are controlling the spice trade. Remember, Christians in Europe are not getting along that well with Muslims in the Middle East, so they want to find a direct route to Asia for trade so they can cut out the Muslims, make it cheaper for Europeans, and be able to make more of a profit. So, you might be asking yourself, why now? Why didn't they do this earlier and everything? Well, they depended on a bunch of inventions that were not created until around this time to be able to do any of this overseas exploration. You had to have improved map making methods that helped people chart the oceans, chart the lands better. The astrolabe, which is right here, helped determine latitude so people knew where they were on the globe. Ship designs allowed people to go in deeper, rougher waters without fear of the ships capsizing, and better weapons for defense. You have to have a way to defend yourself from attackers, from pirates, from privateers, and all that. So all this stuff had to line up during this time period for people to be able to explore like they did. So the first groups to explore are the Portuguese and the Spanish. So we're going to focus on the Portuguese. The Portuguese, they decided to go east. They decide they're going to sail around the southern tip of Africa and go to India and Asia that way. Vasco da Gama is going to be the first person to do this. He sails around the Cape of Good Hope and reaches India. His trip takes 10 months, but it brings home a 3,000% profit. Now, Europeans did not have much to offer the Asians in this area during this time because everything, their close connection with Muslims and everything had built up this kind of anti-European sentiment. Christianity was not welcomed here because Buddhism, Islam, Hinduism already offered these people everything they wanted. There was no room for Christianity. The Chinese, they were so far advanced that they wanted nothing from the Europeans but money. The Europeans had nothing to offer them that Chinese didn't already have. In India, the Mughal dynasty was very strong. They were not open to much interference with the Europeans. And Japan, the shoguns were wary of European involvement, and they eventually just closed off Japan from any outside influence and did not allow anybody to come in and try to trade with them. So, they did have some success though. You have the Strait of Malacca. It's captured by the Portuguese. It gives them control of the whole entire spice trade. The Dutch, they get jealous of this and they take it from the Portuguese, and they form what's known as the Dutch East India Company. This forms a group of wealthy investors to control the whole entire spice trade and own a monopoly on it and start making a buttload of money at the expense of the people in Asia. So, the Spanish, while the Portuguese decided to go east, the Spanish are deciding to go west. Columbus says that if he sails west, he can get a direct route to China and be really fast and bring home a lot of profit for Spain. This happens in 1492. I know you all know that. You learned that from elementary school. But remember, Reconquista happened in 1492. Ferdinand and Isabella reconquered Spain and redeemed it for the Christians. So they're looking to make a name for themselves, so they support Columbus and they give him the money he needs. So the Spain lays claim to everything in the two new continents besides modern-day Brazil under the Treaty of Tordesillas. The Pope cuts the globe in half Everything on the east that's not Christian belongs to the Portuguese. Everything on the west belongs to Spanish. Brazil was the only part of South America that ended up on the east of that line. Now, France and England, they're not going to give a crap about this line when they come to explore, and they're going to lay claim to whatever territory they want to. Now, Columbus, he comes, disease kills off 90% of the population. He gets kicked out of office. He was made governor of the New World, but he gets kicked out for corruption of power and abuse. Cortez comes in. Cortez conquers the Aztecs and destroys this giant empire. Pizarro comes in and conquers the Incans and destroys their giant empire. Pizarro sits there and he ransoms off the emperor to the Incans, and after they pay the ransom, he kills their Sapa Inca right there in front of all of them. So, how is the Spanish Empire able to conquer millions of natives with so few people? Well, they have these advancements. They have these horses, armor, guns, cannons. The diseases they bring decimates the Native American population. They give weapons to rival groups to take out the other rival groups, and they conquer the winner. All this, and the Native Americans believed, like Cortez, they believed he was a god. He was sent here. He was their god. They worshipped him. They had never seen horses before. They never had seen armored guns, the cannons. They frightened them. So the Spanish used all these new things to their advantage to scare the Native Americans and take advantage of them. So, Spain gets rich. Spain becomes one of the most powerful countries in the world. They get all this gold, silver, and sugar. It makes Spain extremely wealthy. The encomiendum system is given to the viceroys who are in charge of this territory by the King of Spain, and allows them to enslave the natives because they're using the justification that they're saving the native souls through Christianity by forcing them to convert to Christianity by slavery. And they're using these slaves to work in the mines to mine gold, silver, the sugar plantations, and everything. Now, the encomiendum system will be made illegal later on because so many Native Americans die off because of diseases. But then they sit there and they force Native Americans to serve as serfs and start making them money that way. Then you'll see later down the road, when they stop using Native Americans, they're going to bring Africans in and start using them as slave labor because they're not dying off as fast as Native Americans to all these European diseases. So, the Catholic Church, they see all these natives as an opportunity to build up their group of people in the Catholic Church. They see the native population as people that are going to be willing to convert to Christianity and be saved by God. Now, the natives, they don't want to convert. They have no clue what's going on. But the Jesuits who are sent there to do this, they don't care. They are forcing the natives to convert against their will. They're forcing them to accept Christianity into their hearts because they don't understand what's going on, because you still have this language barrier that is between the two groups. So remember, the whole entire discovering the two new continents was just a surprise, because the main goal of the Spanish was to find a quicker route to Asia by going west. Now, Ferdinand Magellan, he eventually does this. He is going to be the first person to circumnavigate the globe. Now, he himself actually doesn't do it. He actually dies in the Pacific on an island. He's attacked by natives and he's killed along the way. He takes 3 ships. It takes him over 3 years, and only 18 sailors in one ship would complete the voyage. But the goal is done. They now know how big the globe is. So, that's how the Age of Exploration happened. That's the discovery of the new continents and European involvement in this. Tomorrow we'll talk about the impact this type of stuff had on the global economy, the global powers as a whole, and we'll look at how England and France play a key role in the development of North and South America. Like always, if you have any questions, let me know.